Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Rap Reviews, a show where we talk about rap. Sometimes rap, a lot of times other stuff, not rap. Oh, don't like that. Let's do
what was that all about, dude?
Should we do a re-intro? Anyway, I'm joined by a couple of friends, Ben
Yes.
and Kieran.
Skate.
He's the one who's making the dumb noises. Today we are doing a song by Ghetts, Little Bo Peep, featuring on an album Conflict of Interest that came out last year, 2021, if you're listening from the future. Actually, I'd praise this album as one of my favorite albums of last year.
There you go. Big call. I was only making the noises because we're doing a grime artist. I know nothing about Ghetts, but I presume he makes a couple of those noises.
He doesn't really, that's the thing.
Yeah, not from what I've heard, actually.
This is why we ask you to listen to the song before you just start making noises.
I thought we were supposed to go in blind to these episodes.
Yeah, that is like, yeah, okay, fine. Good call. But this guy's actually been around since about 2005.
Whoa.
and-
Yeah, I saw he's pretty old. He's like 38 or something.
Yeah.
Is he kind of pals with the whole like Wiley and Kano and Skepta and
He references both in the song, I believe.
He's known, I know he's known Skepta and Dizzy Rascal and Wretch 32, who is on this song, for a number of years, like for like 15, 20 years.
they go back, they're homies.
Yeah, but he's largely been, for the most part, quite underground. This is actually only his third studio album and probably his most
Since
successful.
2005.
Yeah.
Because that is the opposite of prolific.
Yeah, no, well, he's released other stuff, like other independent albums and stuff, but this is his third under an actual studio with Water Brothers doing it for him.
Yeah, right.
But I think he's got a lot of respect from his peers. That's why, like, in this album alone, it's got Stormzy, Skepta, big
Dave.
name,
All the usual,
Dave's
the
on this
usual
track,
grime
is he not?
suspects.
and of course a huge icon in the hip hop scene, Ed Sheeran.
Is he actually featured on this album?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. It's actually not a bad track, but yeah.
What is
It's weird to say, like, Stormzy,
does Ed
Skepta.
Sheeran rap in this song?
Yeah, he does actually rap.
He does do a little rap?
And fun facts are, he wrote Ghetts wrote the rap for Ed, and Ed generally likes to write his own raps, but
Okay.
yeah, I keep saying Skepta, Ghetts wrote it for him.
That's like, I don't know, I feel like that's a huge like street cred compliment to Ed Sheeran to have a big name underground rapper write him some raps and be like, yo, Ed,
Yeah.
I want you to take these bars that I've created and drop them on one of my tracks.
And then spit some fire for me. Ed, you know what?
How did
Gawky
that-
fucker, but not a bad actual rapper.
How the fuck did that like meeting come about?
I don't know. I think like Ed actually does really respect his music. So I think that's the kind of the theme, I guess, with a lot of the artists dropping on this album is they've all known him and respected him for a long time.
What, Ed Sheeran?
And
Ed Sheeran is known to be like a rager too. Like he's known to be like a party animal, just constantly like going to things where like big celebrities are and stuff, and like just everyone gets on with him. Apparently, like a really cool guy.
yeah, so I just think that like Ghetts is so well respected within the community of hip hop and grime in the UK that they all wanted to come and drop on this album.
Okay.
Yeah, like a reunion tour. Everybody's coming back out of the woodwork
Yeah,
for old Ghettsy boy.
sure. Yeah, you could say that. Like a little come together. I don't know. Is
I
that
mean, show of respect.
yeah, it just shows the like.
I reckon he's got a real like happy and prosperous recording studio culture that he's cultivating over there. He's
sure.
He's got like, refreshments.
I love that you've never heard of this person until like 10 minutes ago. Now you're just
Yeah,
like, I reckon he's got this going on. I
He's got a
reckon
great smile. Oh, gets his laugh. Oh, gets his laugh.
treats his girl really well. He's,
Before we get into the song itself, there isn't a whole lot on Genius and the wider internet. So we're just going to have to do what we do best and just try to annotate, just using our own brainage.
That's exactly what we're here for.
Exactly. That's why they pay us the big bucks.
Can't
But
say that my brain is functioning quite so well today, but we'll give it a red hot go.
fantastic. Half brain is what we want. So this is a quote from Ghetts. I went round to my mum's house and heard something playing upstairs. It was my brother making a loop. I was kind of crazy and it was kind of crazy and I was impressed. So I ran upstairs, laid down a quick idea and we slept on it for ages. after we made Hamzaa's 2019 single "Breathing" Part 2, I knew I can't. This is what the track I was called. I knew that. Sorry, maybe edit that part out. After we made the Jesus Christ, after we made the Hamzaa's 2019 single "Breathing" Part 2, I knew this was the right track to call on Hamzaa and Wretch 32. I wanted my own version of something in that vein, and they absolutely smashed it. The track also being the track's about being led astray. You might be an addict to something, and that's your little boy Peep. You're a sheep to that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So little boy Peep essentially representing addiction.
Right. But is he saying that sometimes addiction, if it's like put into a positive like endeavor, is maybe not necessarily a bad thing? Or am I just completely misreading what you just read out?
Yeah, I feel there is actually a line later on in the song from what I was just listening to earlier today where he actually sort of, I don't know, I think it's Dave that says it.
Yeah,
but he basically says like, being a follower is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just like depending on what you're following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave really also definitely ran with that theme of today's society's like addiction to whatever it is, not necessarily narcotics.
Yeah.
So having said all that, let's get into it. I don't sleep, I just close my eyes. I'm no sheep, Bo Peep, she must die. The Lord is my shepherd, the Lord is my shepherd. That then repeats.
Why wouldn't one want to sleep and just keep their eyes closed? Is it because he's so woke? He's so woke he can't fall asleep.
Well, it's also, I think it's also the whole metaphor of like counting sheep to go to sleep as well. Sort of just tying that in.
Yeah. And it's hard to sleep when you might have something else like on your mind.
An addiction, perhaps.
Yeah. We're definitely getting half-brain Kieran over here today.
I took an edible last night and I'm still feeling
There he is. There he is.
There he goes. Okay. So verse 1 by Ghetts. Jumped out of the car, had a change of heart. Something wasn't right. Told the bros, call it a night. But they just called me. Said I'm pussy. Pressure from my peers. I never folded though. Blessing from upstairs.
Damn. So some shit's about to go down.
Yep.
So he's jumped out of the car rather than following the pack blindly and sort of think, you know what, this doesn't feel great to me. I'm going to roll out. And he's been called a pussy. And he never folded. He was like, I don't care, man. This is dumb.
Exactly. A bit of toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
I think about possibly going on a job. He did talk about throughout this album that he was a huge car thief when he was a teenager.
That's such a cool job.
Yeah. And actually he talked about it a lot in this song Hop Out, because he's like, you know what, people always talk about drugs, but people used to make a lot of money on other ways. And his thing was car theft. Yeah. And unfortunately lesser cool, but home invasions.
Lesser cool.
Lesser cool. But
I mean, still, you know.
Still takes a bit of balls to go into someone else's house, their private area.
Like, if you're getting thrown in the slammer for anything, like, I think armed robbery probably takes the cake in, like, terms of coolest things that you probably get respect for in the can. This is me just, like, speculating.
If you do like a bank robbery and then give it back to the people, like to the public, then you're like
full
all
Robin
time,
Hood
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's super cool.
But it sort of reminds me of this bit of that, because I was listening to Good Kid, Mad City again the other day for the first time in years, and how good that fucking album is, man. But the song, The Art of Peer Pressure, he's going about rolling around with the guys and they're doing the home invasions and stuff. It's like, very keen to this.
Actually, there was a guy talking about kind of the Robin Hood-esque figure. There was a guy in the 70s, I believe, that would do bank robberies, and he would steal some money, but then he'd go in there and he'd destroy all the mortgage papers.
Yeah, we were talking about this a few weeks ago on the podcast.
Oh, we were talking about this?
Yeah, because I forgot what song it was. Someone referenced it in a song that we covered.
Oh, fair.
And then we were talking about it, and we're like, yeah, guy's a G.
Well, sorry to double up on information there.
I mean, I'm sure it comes from a place of being a G, but also it's like PR stunt for yourself. If you're like engaging in criminal activities, and certain segments of society might, point their finger at you and be like, no, that's wrong, that's the law. But if you're ripping up people's mortgages, they don't have to pay it back. That's kind of like really doing yourself a favor.
Yeah, but I doubt he wanted to get caught and known anyway, right?
But like, I mean, when you did get caught and people found out, oh, this is the guy, he ripped up my mortgage.
Oh, so you're saying the jury is going to be more in your favor?
I'm not saying that like in criminal proceedings it will help, but in terms of like overall public opinion, I don't know.
Right.
There might be like positive like media given towards you, which might lessen your sentence. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Bit of self-PR while robbing. Makes total sense. I never folded. When I'm rolling, I'm protected. That's a prayer from my grandma, concerned about her grandson. I ain't phoned to say a change gonna come. That's what Sam sung.
That's an amazing line, that.
Yeah.
Sam Cooke,
Yes,
say a change gonna come.
that's it. And also, obviously, Sam. That's what Sam sung, being the phone company.
Yeah.
Fun little.
And it is what Sam sung.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good line. That's a sick line, man.
It is, and also just the grandma part. I think he's just saying he's born with that kind of Christian belief.
Yeah, feeling that he's always protected by a higher power of some sort, and his grandmother giving him those blessings.
And that's obviously what saved him in the previous lines about him deciding not to go on the job with his friends.
Yeah, that divine intervention as opposed to like free will. Maybe it's a mix of both. Maybe it's
I'm from the land of Rambos, acid samurais, and handguns, where it's fuck dads, thank mom, but me, I'm a dad's son, and it's hard to see the father in me. The apple never fell too far from the tree.
damn.
Also, great line. Hard to annotate the Rambo, acid samurais, and handguns. Don't really know what they.
Well, I'm guessing it just means like Rambo's like John Rambo, I assume is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Being sort of like out on your own against everyone's sort of out for themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
Trying to survive.
The cold, hard streets of London.
Yeah. Not sure what acid he's talking about there. I'm not sure what that means.
And samurais and handguns. Just,
Yeah, people be getting stabbed in London. I don't know.
There's,
People getting thrown in acid baths.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know that like acid attacks are a big thing. Maybe not in the UK, but in places like India,
Yeah,
where
okay.
they'll like scar usually women.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the people who cop the brunt of it, they have just like acid thrown in their face. It's a real problem.
Also, that ain't it hard to see my father and me. The apple never fell too far from the tree. Great line. I think that is kind of true. I think ultimately you end up becoming a lot like your father, regardless of
I'm
what.
trying every day to fight it, but
Yeah, it's
here
hard.
I am.
Yeah.
Genetics they're a hard thing to overcome.
Yeah, it's like you watch your dad flipping out of like stubbing his toe when you're a kid, and you're like, I never want to be like that. I never want to let my
You stub your
rage.
toe
And then
and
you're like, motherfucker, I'm gonna kill you.
100%.
My mother hates it, but she can't disagree. Bricks on my bedroom floor. You think it's Carnaby Street. Exaggeration, but you're starting to see.
I'm guessing Carnaby Street probably has like a brick-lined roadway,
Yeah, it's got that
And
old
obviously-
styly brickwork.
like cobblestones, and I presume he's talking about bricks in terms of drug quantities.
Yeah, or just bricks of cash.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to claim a whole lot of drug dealing. He kind of strays away from that a lot through at least this album. So possibly just making money in other ways.
Make 'em
Yeah,
back.
well, he even says directly in the next line, exaggeration,
Exaggeration.
but you're starting to see the picture basically. So it's
Yeah. You get the picture literally. Also, Carnaby Street is in Soho. Copyright infringement. They ain't paying for these samples. Want to hit? Then visit me.
So these samples, the one you were saying that he's a producer as well as rapper,
Yeah.
and people are clearly ripping his work off and using it for themselves.
Yeah, and I think also maybe like he's not going to pay for the samples on this visit on this song.
yeah, I'm a bit lost on that line.
That's what I kind of took from it. That so many people in hip hop don't pay for their samples anymore. That he's also not going to pay for it. And then if
Right,
you
so it's
really
if you can't
if you
beat
really
him,
want the
join
money
him.
from him, come.
Oh, yeah, want to hear it, come visit me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Jumping
obviously nobody's going to come visit him because he's from the land of Rambo's, acid, samurais, and handguns.
Yeah.
You don't know what the dude is packing.
yeah, exactly.
He'll hit you with one of those bricks.
He refers to holding a shank when he was a child later on. But jumping over cows, I skip the beef so I can run around with thousands in my jeans.
He's avoiding conflict here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
Jumping over cows, I'm not really sure what that refers to other than tying in with the skipping beef thing.
Yeah, I think he's not going to get himself into some squabbles.
Yeah, petty
petty
conflict. Yeah.
Is it an idiom though, jumping over cows?
It could be, yeah.
I'm not
Keep going,
sure.
I'll look it up.
I was in these streets where it's dangerous, fam. As a kid, I found comfort in my favorite shank.
There you go.
Because I was always outnumbered, never claiming a gang. I never knew moral compass. I became detached.
Yeah, right. So he's like once again he's on his own. It's just trying to survive. Didn't want to be distracted or drawn to gang activity, etc.
And I do think that, especially in London, with I heard Leon Edwards, a UFC fighter, talking about this, that most kids these days and for the last like 10, 20 years have walked around with knives because they have a fear of being stabbed themselves.
Yeah.
But then it does kind of create that hate begets hate system where you're more likely to then use a knife on someone else.
Yeah.
And to reference something very much in the news at the minute, look at our friends over in the United States where everybody wants to carry guns in order to protect themselves, but then you just have this flurry of this absolute proliferation of weapons.
Yeah, and there's not been, a single instance of anyone actually protecting a fucking school by handing a teacher a gun?
Yeah, well...
Teachers have had guns, have had security, and people are still getting shot and killed. So.
Yeah, it doesn't really change anything.
It makes no difference.
Yeah, like Texas, so they have a law on how many dildos you can have, but they do not have...
Fuck off, is that a real thing?
Yeah, that's a real thing. You can't have more than 6 dildos, but...
Why? Because at that point you're like planning something? Or?
Who fucking knows? It's Texas. But, but yeah, you can have as many guns as you want.
How do you monitor how many dillies people have got?
Considering that's insane. It's like,
crazy.
you got 5 strap-ons? Not allowed. 12 guns? That's cool.
Dildos can do so many different things these days. You probably need more than like a variation of 5, you know?
Yeah, you can have different sizes for different orifices.
Different for different orifices. Yeah, different functions on each one, you know?
Yeah, my nostril dildo here.
Yeah, you got to watch with
a nostril
Yeah,
dildo.
my nostril dildo for all those orifices.
Like those little Vicks vapor things, dude.
Yeah.
That's my nostril dilly.
You got to watch out with the vibrators these days because apparently they can really desensitize the clitoris. And
over time, a bit of a...
Yeah.
Wearing down.
It's like a drill bit, you know, when it wears down. Same thing with a high-functioning dildo.
Okay.
I repeat, none of us are medically inclined professionals,
and none of us
knowledge
have,
on the issue.
And none of us have vaginas.
Yeah, let us know, audience. How are your clitorises? Has it been grounded down?
Yeah.
Or like...
I'm just an outsider inside, outlining the things I'm surrounded by. The time the outcomes is insight on how some live life.
Shit, that's a good line. I'm just an outsider, inside, outlining things I'm surrounded by.
Which I think is also like a real kind of mantra of hip hop itself, right? Where you're kind of explaining the situation that a lot of people live in for the wider world.
Yeah, yeah. Inviting them into your surroundings and for them to get a perspective on it.
He's saying he's on the outside, so he's kind of lived the life of criminal, which I guess to, you know, the bulk of society would be seen as living on the margins, on the outside.
Yeah.
And now he's found his way into the kind of the world of wealth and like the entertainment industry, and he's on the inside. But he's able to bring his experience from living out there on the margins into this world, which again, like you said, is what like most hip hop does.
Yeah, it's a good way of annotating that line. For
actually, you've almost annotated the next 2 lines with that.
Yeah, exactly. The shoes don't fit me anymore, and that's for sure. But the trousers still fit fine.
Yeah, it's almost like he's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out always, or he can maybe choose when he needs to.
Yeah, his part of his lifestyle has changed.
Yeah, well, he could choose when he needs to put that side of his brain to that, or when he needs to be at the outside of it. You know.
Yeah, well,
he's a chameleon, can adapt to any environment.
Yeah.
Like Charlie Murphy in the Rick James episode of Dave Chappelle. It's like, my ghetto side says, stomp this motherfucker out. You know?
Yeah. But he could,
We just follow fashion, follow trends, follow enemies, and follow friends being followed by the feds, and follow women on the gram, and then we follow them again. Everybody's following, but where are we being led?
Yeah, okay.
Where are we being led?
I don't know.
Everyone's following something.
I believe the end of the world, but, you know, not everyone shares that belief.
What are you talking, like Judgment Day? Talking like the biblical apocalypse? Or
Yeah, I think
like
we're getting
Horsemen,
close.
what have you?
I think I see signs. I see writing on the wall.
Okay.
No,
What are you saying,
about
bro?
to start a
Yeah.
cult. This is when this podcast turns into your like fucking mega mouthpiece for a cult that you're spooking.
Call me David
for only
Gretch.
$19.99 a month.
Subscribe to our Patreon. Then follow us to the end of the earth.
Well, it was huge in the 2000s, right? Well, like 99 2000s when everyone kind of thought the world was
The
going to
Y2K
end.
phenomenon. Everyone thought technology was going to all of a sudden just break down and planes were going to come flying out of the sky into people's backyards and what have you.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people like, Waco and, what was the fucking guys that they all took the sleeping pills?
Jones.
Heaven's Gate.
Oh, yeah, I'm not too familiar with Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, but they basically believe that you could leave this world and ascend to something else, which my cult is going to be slightly different. Than that.
What are you going for, dude? What are you going?
I'm just opposing things like NFTs and and stupid digital coins.
Honestly, I don't
like
think that's a cult. I think there's like an anti-cult. It's like it's an antithesis of the cult that is NFTs.
But I also want to I don't want us to all kill ourselves. I think we should just uprise and just murder all the people
Kill
in
others.
powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like
a giant big French Revolution.
French Revolution. Let them
Yeah.
eat cake.
Yeah.
That can be your logo, a piece of cake, and you eating it.
Yeah. Do you want to be on a publicist?
I don't know if right now is the best time for a cult that's like really spruiking end of days shit, because we've just like gone through a global pandemic. I don't think people's appetites, that kind of doom and gloom at the minute. I think we've survived.
We're on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing at the moment. We're having a laugh right now. Let us do that for a bit. We might go back to Ukraine for a little bit. Probably won't. We may have a week on that.
It's crazy how much we forgot about Ukraine.
Yeah, it's mental.
It's
dude.
still a war. And
What was Will Smith slap someone?
that
Chris
was-
Rock. And
yeah.
then now we've got Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. There's something else big happening right now, I feel.
But I tell you what, some of the stuff from that case is hilarious.
Oh yeah, I don't even know what to pay attention to anymore. It pops up. I watch like a 2-minute clip, and it's driving me crazy. At this point,
Yeah, and I
seeing
think
it
that's
this
what
way.
I think what Ghetts is saying basically, where we're so used to just following shit online and on Instagram and
We're all
Twitter.
sheep.
We're all just becoming sheeple, man, and that's what my cult is going to wake us up. Wake us up.
But
Wake up.
The great
baby.
irony of this is you will have your own sheeple.
Yeah,
You'll be
exactly.
the shepherd of
But they
those
won't
sheeple.
realize that. you know,
And I'll
that's-
fuck all their wives.
Yeah, and
then
the dudes.
And sometimes, sometimes the dudes. I love when a cult leader fucks everyone, but he's like, "Oh, but you guys can't fuck." And they're all
Yeah, like Jim Jones. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's so
Yeah,
good.
it's
It's awful, but it's
Yeah.
like
That's not
There's
what
some
cults
like
want.
level of like cool, like that's cool. He's banging everyone.
it's like it's not even for his sexual pleasure at this. Oh, it is, but it's like it's more power that he's getting out of it. It's just
Yeah.
like I can not only fuck your wife, but I can fuck you in the ass. Also, you know?
Exactly. And also, you're not allowed to fuck your wife.
Yeah, and you'll thank me after.
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm saving you and her by fucking your wife, and then I'll get you all to kill each other.
This dick got those Hillam properties, baby.
Jim Jones, what a hell of a man. What a legacy. But tell you what, one thing about that last thing before the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial,
Yeah.
when they're asking her if she ever donated the $7 million from the divorce that she claimed that she would, she was like, "No, I pledged it." And she's like, "Yeah, but at this point, you haven't donated any of the $7 million." And she's like, "No, I pledged it." And it's like, just answer the question. And like I was saying, like, don't you reckon? I was thinking, like, it's a cool way to be like, you didn't pay rent, this last
I
month.
pledged it.
Yeah, I pledged it. It's like, you didn't pay your bills. Like, nah, I pledged it, bud. Like, I intend to pay it. I pledged it. It's like, it's the ultimate out.
Yeah, use that to your utility provider when they shut off your power and gas the next time. Just be like, no, I pledged it though.
Yeah, turn it back on. I pledged.
Check your records. I fucking pledged it.
I sent you a pledge. This is Haz's little chorus. What are we here on this earth for? Why? See all this choice, but you still follow. God gave us mind of our own, but still the open road we go. The open road.
This is getting very philosophical. I feel like he's kind of talking to people's desire to have some sort of like spirituality, something that they don't quite understand, and follow that kind of nebulous thing, whatever it may be, whether it's Jesus, Allah, astrology,
Yep.
Just
whatever.
a sense of being a part of something bigger, I guess, not just being alone, terrified, cold, naked, like we all
Yeah.
actually are.
To feel connected with other people and following some sort of journey, even though that journey might be based in lies or not grounded in fact whatsoever.
Yeah, for sure. Like Scientology.
I mean, up for debate.
Have you done the test?
I'm terrified to do the test.
I kind
Are
of want
you
to do
planning
it.
to? That's what it sounds like.
Hey?
It sounds like you're planning to.
I wanted to one day, like
Yeah.
when I saw You know how they have the like open days where you walk
I think
past,
every day is an open day. That's not
where you get to put your hands on the two like metal rods.
Yeah,
They tell you what's wrong with your life. I don't know. It's tempting to like have that done, have that assessment, see just how quickly they launch into. You would be saved by buying some of these expensive textbooks that we have, and joining in for some of our ceremonies someday.
But I think it's also kind of like with Scientology, you know, if you're at level 4 or 5 and you're cleaning up a house for someone else, but then that's shit, not cool. But when you get to level like 35, like you're getting other people to clean your
You're
house.
slaves at that point.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I think it's just like, you know, major questions that we've had, you know, for as long as humans have been around, basically. Like, what are we here for?
Yeah, and how much free will do we really have?
Yeah, exactly.
It's all determined. It's the simulation doesn't waver.
You got a bit of a Matrix theme going on with that.
Well, you know, just throwing in some more common conspiracies.
Yeah.
Whether the simulation is a conspiracy or not, I'm not well enough read on the subject.
And the world
But
is
if Elon
flat.
Musk says it's true, then it must be. Right?
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of dumb conspiracies, though. That is the main concern, right? And I feel like it's getting worse.
What, the amount of the flourishing of conspiracies out there?
Yeah, well, like, more people believe now that the world is flat than they did in the 17th century, which is kind of concerning when you think
It
about
is
we're
terrifying.
privy
We
to
got
more
planes.
information.
Yeah,
we
we're
got
just in the
planes.
age of misinformation. I mean, it's just so much coming from everywhere.
Yeah,
People can find on their own now.
but you could get in a plane and you can see the curvature yourself.
I don't. I'm not.
Yeah.
You don't need to convince me. There was a video of Steve-O
I don't
opening
know.
the earth.
You seem kind of inclined towards the flat Earth theory there, Ben.
Yeah, just each their own, you know.
No, not each.
No, not each their own at all. You're a fucking
Wrong.
idiot.
Each their own. Like, if you want to believe the Earth is round, you're a fucking moron.
This is chorus by Wretch, 32. He was also part of a grime collective combination chain gang with Scorcher and Ghetts back in the day.
Okay.
And Scorcher also features on this album.
So this is like kind of grime royalty in a sense that it's like, you know, heyday of like grime's birth. These folks that are rapping on this track.
Yeah, and this album for
They're
sure.
they're like old heads of the genre.
I got a the 45, which is an internet reviewing site. They said the conflict of interest review, the ghosts of grime's past, present, and future,
That's beautiful.
Okay.
which I think
Well
does
put,
really
well put.
surmise, especially the features on this album.
Shout outs to the writer of that article.
Yeah, whoever you are, I could probably find your name. Kate French Morris.
On your
Kate French Morris.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm guessing a lady.
A lady.
on your Frenchie.
Anyway, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Sold rocks in a hard place. Used the same rocks to build my Marjay.
What's a Marjo?
I don't know.
I actually Googled this earlier. I can tell ya.
Oh yeah.
Go on, Ben.
His Marjay is his madre, his mother.
Oh.
Saying that he used the same rocks that he sold to build his mother a... what does he say in the next
One
line?
big house on a little old street.
That's hot.
Yeah.
We fell in love
That's
with a little bit.
hot.
That is hot. There is nothing more attractive in anybody than paying off the mortgage for your parents, building a house for your parents, looking after your parents.
So you think it's cool to like, you're buying a house for your mum, but you're doing it on the misfortune of others.
He thinks it's sexy from the sound. That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
I'm not necessarily saying whether it's morally good or bad. It's just hot.
It's just hot.
Like a man taking
turns
care
you
of his
on.
family turns you on. Man. That's
Hey?
good. I like a man taking care of his family turns you on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
How many dildos do you have?
Let's just say I wouldn't be allowed into Texas.
Dirty boy.
But also, like, stuck between a rock and a hard place is that expression where, you know, you have nowhere else to go.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you're trapped.
So I think that's why that's why they end up selling rocks, you know, turning to crime, because there's no many options for some people in the world.
Yeah.
We fell in love with Little Peep, I think representing the addiction that probably the clients have and the addiction for money that he has.
Yeah, 100% sure.
But these rocks bring you heartache. Use the same rocks to build Marjay. Yeah. So you're never going to get a clear out when you turn to this kind of stuff, right? There's no direct happy ending when you turn to drug dealing.
No.
Generally not, no. I feel like it's probably a rare exception that people can retire and know the point where they're at a good like time to pack it all away. They've made their fortune and live a relatively free life free of anxiety and trouble.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, half brain. Basically, you're saying is they always come in for one last job.
Exactly. Yeah. It's always like that. Yeah. Fucking hell.
I love this.
Normally the most articulate out of the three of us, but today the worst.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of like satisfying.
Yeah, just watching you just
So you're just sitting back there giggle.
I think I'm still somewhat high.
It does stay in your system longer when you eat it. Would you tell me that? Oh, this is Dave, by the way. Would you tell me that I'm crazy if you said could make righting wrong? A man would ride along forever, whether right or wrong.
Yeah, right. What is he trying to say here?
If I could make writing wrong, as in like, I think he's spelt it like writing as you would with a pen and paper.
Yeah.
But like to turn rights wrong or to make your wrongs right.
Writing your wrongs.
I think that's what he's trying to get at. Is like, would he be crazy if he wants to, watch the world burn? That he's, like a little bit of a Joker-like character that wants to turn the rights wrong.
Shove men marched away.
Any excuse to get that Michael Caine accent on.
Michael Caine.
I think you nailed that, bro. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I think you did
That's
actually
good.
nail that.
Fucking half brain.
He's back. He's back.
Here.
And also, I guess with the writing, to quote, Jesus, I can't even
To quote Jesus.
to quote to quote Jesus. No, Oscar Wilde. There is no such thing as moral or immoral writing. There's just good writing and bad writing.
Okay.
On your Oscar.
Yeah,
Good Irish writer.
Yeah, good old Oscar. Follow the morals to the T and hand retribution. Set judicial precedent. Prevent confusion. Taking of life that's illegal on the block because it's evil, but it's legal for some people with a job.
Oh, shit.
So is
That's what
he
we're talking
saying
about
his
earlier.
crimes are so unique that he's setting like a precedent in the courts?
Yeah, maybe. Well, like, how do you define what he does and what his peers have done to survive different to, say, someone like a police officer?
Yeah.
Yeah, or any sort of world leader or people in power who just, make,
Yeah.
slapdash decisions, whatever, that's going to benefit them and then probably end up murdering and killing a bunch of people. So it's like, it's cool for them to just be murdering people. We're just doing it here trying to survive.
Yeah, exactly. Like war crimes is a huge thing right now, like in Ukraine. It's huge. They reckon there's hundreds of cases of war crimes. Even the Australian Ben Roberts, when he was out in Afghanistan, he's having a huge trial right now over how many war crimes he did commit.
Yeah, right.
I think our biggest defamation case to date in this country.
Because it was basically bloodening of like Afghan people.
Yeah, and we like glorified and revered him, like so many fucking like statues and places named after the dude and so many like big awards to find out that he's actually a fucking psychopath killer, which is what the evidence so far is certainly pointing towards.
And it does, that whole case really does show that when we invade a country to say counter terrorism, to liberate freedom, do we not then create more terrorists and more extremists by our presence when we do, commit war crimes like that? Like the villages that they were in Afghanistan, some of them had small, tiny populations of members of terrorist organizations, but when they would leave, would have far greater numbers because
everyone is galvanized around the fact that this like foreign imperial power is coming in and trying to impose their own rule on them.
Yeah, exactly. Just like with like with Ukraine and Russia, like there's going to be Ukrainians that are going to forever have a vendetta against Russia after what they've done.
And I think that's why the Russians are not doing nearly as well as they had anticipated. In fact, I'm not sure that you can say Russia's losing the war, but they're not doing nearly what they wanted to.
Exactly.
Because like every fucking Russian there or every Ukrainian is like galvanized around the fact that we don't want these cunts coming in.
Yeah. You're not going to give up your land and freedom just because someone, you're going to fight tooth and nail to the very end, right? And it's hard when you're the invader because you're never going to have that same level of commitment.
No.
Yeah. Which actually does fall into the next line.
I was going to say, it doesn't know.
Middle Eastern children get molested. You run a clip on the news and we get over it.
Which is what we're talking about earlier, the news cycle.
Yeah. and just the atrocities we commit in other countries.
Yeah.
What happened when you don't follow cold N-words, so borrow. Mums cry, doves fly, tears in a thug's eye, push bass, pump white, overdose, mum dies.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a little Prince tie-in with the mums crying, doves flying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a good...
This is what it sounds like when doves cry.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Great song.
Good pickup there, actually.
Oh, that's just what, like, maybe Prince was referring to some, like, well-known kind of adage or idiom about doves crying. But
Well, isn't that song about like a family in hardship, like a family struggling to get along?
He basically talks about like just becoming the father and sins of the father and stuff, and that through that
in
as
that
well.
song, yeah. So it is a nice little tie-in. And he's also, I think, tying into Ghetts' lines with basically the not just the news cycle and the following, but just the cold kind of the cycle that is like, you know, like one thing will affect the other and then it moves forward. And then
like the butterfly effect.
But exactly, like the butterfly effect of like...
Everything has ripples.
Yeah, and everyone is affected when the initial push is evil or bad or perceived as wrong, it's going to eventually affect everyone. So
yeah, and it fully is like, it fully explains the whole cycle there. It's like drug dealing leads to people dying, which leads to mothers crying, but their mothers are also drug addicts as well, and that to deal with it, all the surroundings they're in, it's just like a constant vicious cycle that, like, you know.
Yeah, all ultimately like known about, but consistently neglected throughout society. I do really like to praise Dave. I do think that he is like quite a modern day poet sometimes when he puts his...
Oh, but I'd listened to this like sonically before. Just the way he ties in like the rhyme schemes and the flows together, and what he's saying is fucking like incredible as well.
Yeah,
to be able to do all those things so well. Like, 'cause I don't really listen to grime a whole lot, so I think this is very like foreign to me.
Yeah.
In fact, when I listened to the song today, I was impressed by myself because I didn't know who was featured on it, and I actually said, "Oh, I think that's Dave." Fucking nailed that for the first time ever in my life.
On your bank.
Oh, he didn't know the feature. Yeah, I think he is like...
He's incredible. Man.
He's an incredible...
Yeah. Now I want to go listen to his albums properly.
Yeah, listen to
people have always told me
his
to.
first album. It's great. But he is really, honestly, like great at... he's just a great lyricist, essentially is what I'm trying to say. Heard he went guilty for a line and caught a 9 today. Wouldn't even matter. About a 40-minute flight away. N-words up all day and night trying to sell you night and day.
Nice. Just the hustlers out there.
Yeah, trying to sell you that crack.
Yeah.
That heroin.
Sell you that nocturnal lifestyle, which is cult-like in itself.
Yeah, see, maybe my cult... I'll
just feeding people drugs.
Yeah, I'll just get everyone addicted to heroin. Did Charles Manson do that? I don't know. I don't know if they were into heroin.
No, I don't think I was doing heroin. They're
early
just doing
for-
acid and shit.
Too early for heroin, or too late. You know, like fashion, drugs come cyclically, in and out. You know, heroin was big like around the beatnik days of like the 40s, 50s, and then I think it kind of went out of vogue.
And then it came back in the 90s.
Yeah, it came back in a big way, and then I think we're due for a resurgence.
Yeah.
Honestly, heroin these days feels like a light beer though, compared to compared to like fentanyl.
Yeah, well, actually, a lot of doctors were saying we would rather people would get back on the heroin than methamphetamines and things like that.
Unfortunately, like every other drug out there that you might be taking, you know, innocently thinking this is just pure ketamine or pure fucking MDMA or pure coke is maybe potentially cut with a bit of fentanyl that
you gotta
might fucking ruin you. So
you gotta be careful out there.
Test your drugs, kids, before you take them.
It's what killed Mac Miller, you know, taking fentanyl not willingly. And I know from sources of people who have done heroin that you do really lose days and nights of your week.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's like being apparently super, super stoned.
Yeah, right.
To the point where you don't remember a whole lot of what happened.
Yeah, right.
Not a healthy lifestyle.
I can't imagine it would be.
Our sons will follow us into a cold light of day. When you don't follow the program, you get Kano and Wretch. You get Skepta and Wiley. You get Dave and Ghetts.
Yeah,
when
nice.
you don't follow the program, as in like they're saying they're going to come for you, they're going to come gunning for you.
No, I think it's like I think it like when you don't. You don't
fall
into these like
traps,
easy traps that you
when
can,
you're not a sheeple.
Yeah, when you're not a sheeple.
They went out themselves and decided, as you said in the opening line, about him getting out of the car and being that opening line's fantastic too. It literally just like paints a picture of the entire track and what they're talking about.
Yeah,
it's like, I chose to get out of the car. It's just a metaphor for the entire thing.
Yeah, it definitely seems like one of those songs where they looked at each other's writings and they made sure they tied it in
Yeah,
thematically.
100%. Yeah.
Similar to Nostalgia with Kendrick.
Yeah.
And,
Oh my god, we need to do
and
that
Pusha
track.
T,
Yeah.
where they like didn't just go. You know when sometimes you get a feature and it has like fucking nothing to do with.
A lot of the time in hip hop that happens.
Yeah,
so.
they just come in and just like wanted to do their own thing.
I actually just quickly reminded me. I heard the other day that Soulja Boy is apparently really annoyed at Kanye right now because I think it was Donda 2 that he was meant, or maybe the first one. He was meant to be on one of the Dondas, right, that came out, and he'd given him a verse for it and like recorded it and stuff. And then Kanye just took him off without telling him he didn't put it on. And then he's apparently been really upset about it, saying like, "What the fuck? Didn't even tell me. Like, how dare he take me off? And now I'm just nothing to do with the album." And the guy was talking about it in this interview was like, "Yeah, but I mean, like, that's a any sort of artist should be able to do that. Like at the last minute, be like, well, this just doesn't work. It's not like it's not that it's not good or anything. It just doesn't fit with what I'm going for. Still would have been paid for it and whatever. But then Kanye actually came out and said why. He was like, all he said was, "Did you actually hear the verse?" Just implying that it was awful. So that's why he didn't put it on. Which is very funny to me.
And just to go back on those last lines, Kano and Wretch are a duo who have kind of come up together.
Wretch is featured in this song. We had that little post-chorus bit. Yeah.
And Skepta and Wiley. Skepta kind of got his start and his early prominence through Wiley, who was one of the first kind of big UK grime
Yeah, he was the
guys.
first grime artist I'd ever heard of, was Wiley. And
Next thing I know, she's wearing my Rolex.
There he is.
There it is.
That's what I had in my head.
Yeah.
Fucking such a party tune.
It is a tune. And then David Ghetts, also guys who have known each other for a while. And so I think it's just about not only just being, you could become your own person, your own individual, but you can do it through kind of helping each other. And that's the way that humanity can reach a higher point, essentially, is not just to be to follow each other, but to be individuals that learn from each other.
Yeah, and also being the fact that they've separated themselves from that and can now speak on their experience may help people who are still in that experience.
For sure.
Yeah.
Women on the guest list, relatives respecting, 30-year stretches, bodies in the trenches. What would I wouldn't do today? Who said I wouldn't do tomorrow?
Yeah.
So just saying that, allegiances, loyalties, codes of ethics might change depending on your circumstances. They're never fixed.
Yeah, you can change as a person, and it's not necessarily right. It's not necessarily wrong. You can grow and change as a person.
Yeah, but then at the same time, if you're still in that, surrounded by those things, and then tomorrow you could all of a sudden fall back into that due to some sort of circumstance outside of your control.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it does tie in with Ghetts' line of shoes don't fit, but the trousers do. That in the core of you can still remain the same person, and that can always just shine through.
Mm.
This song has no annotations on Genius. We should be fucking writing this stuff down.
Surprising
We've been
too
talking
for
about this for the entire time we've been making this podcast.
we
To go on to Genius and start doing our own annotations.
Maybe one day we'll get around to it. The problem ain't following, it's what you choose to follow. What if we chose to follow all the things we used to follow? Spoke about sex less, normalized death less, obsessed less over capital and excess, took drugs less, frowned on love less. Little boy Peep must sleep forevermore. We feel we don't grieve, we grieve but never mourn.
It's a big chunk of lyrics. Also, you said excess, but I think I've got X's here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, capital and excess makes more sense than
I think it
capital
is
X's.
supposed to be excess, yeah.
Yeah,
But
okay.
probably I'm guessing he's trying to do a double entendre there, like he did earlier, or like Ghetts did earlier.
Yeah.
So he's kind of just talking about doing away with all the kind of more modern obsessions and vices that we have in society right now, and kind of take things back to a more simple kind of appreciation for the small things in life, like family and friends, and really focusing on relationships and community, as opposed to glamour and glitz and fame and
really shallow ways of life in a way. And
the things that give quick and easy fulfillment, but they very quickly vanish and evaporate.
Yeah, it never stands long. And a capital world has led to a lot of excess, and this over desire for drugs and sex, which is probably clouding our minds. My little Peep at the moment would probably be sports gambling.
That's your little Bo Peep.
Yeah, that's my little hope, babe. Barely smoke weed anymore. My drinking has gotten to a pretty respectable level. But then I just love
sports betting.
I'll be punting on anything.
You gotta have some outlet.
Yeah, I'll be like, NBA, like, the NBA's over. We gotta jump on the footy. Like, fuck. What about the boxing? Like, I don't know much about boxing. Maybe I'll throw some money on it. Like, I don't know. What's wrong with me.
I feel
the rush though, guys.
I feel like gambling in this country is just like so easy to fall into that trap, though.
Oh, for sure. And
it's very much part of the culture.
The advertisement as well is just like so prominent.
Yeah,
dude. 90% of our YouTube ads here in Australia
just
must be, and not even like every fucking company of like betting that you can get, Neds, Sportsbet, Ladbrokes, whatever else. There's a million of them.
Yeah, it's true, and it's crazy. Like, I work in a pub, and it's crazy that people so often will walk in and be like, where's your pokie machines? You're like, well, we don't have any. And they're like, and they just walk out. Like, where's your tab? You're like, don't have one. You're like, walk out. You're like, fuck, you're only at the pub to punt.
100%,
I watched a guy at the opening of a bar, a venue, they want to be called, across the road from me, and I watched a guy put $550 into the pokies, like in the space of one of my cigarettes. It was crazy. Like, it was depressing. Like, those pokey rooms in Sydney are just a grim like place. We feel we don't grieve, we grieve. Oh, you did that. We look but never see. We see but never more. The role models are suffering, telling them there's a war outside. Is
he saying that whilst on the surface we see things, but we don't give it enough attention and consideration to what is actually going on?
Yeah, and I think in this world of like how image-based we have gotten, that even people that we're looking up to are deep down dying inside and aren't actually happy.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Depp, who would have thought that this guy's struggling so hard with drug addiction this whole time? Well, it doesn't surprise me a lot, but but loves cocaine.
And
a lot of people
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
You get over a certain income level and propensity to consume cocaine.
Yeah, that was a bad example. He also did like buy the Viper Room, which became a huge celebrity and drug spot for many years. Where
could we say that Johnny Depp is responsible for
River Phoenix's
death?
No, probably not.
Come on, Adam, bring that into your testimony. That would be the silver bullet you got. Yeah, well, I might have shat in a bed, but you killed River Phoenix.
You have a gambling problem. All-time Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
That is the end of the track.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's just chorus after that.
Yeah, just repeat the other bits. Yeah, good track.
God, that is so refreshing to annotate a song that has like some serious philosophical depth compared to what we did last week.
Yeah. This is in Playboy Cardi on a very different like set of scales. Almost.
Yeah, I feel this is one of the more intense cuts we've done for a little while now, I think.
Yeah, it's something I've wanted to do since this album came out. I think there's a lot of songs on this album that you could do, but yeah, I just think like the kind of like poetry that they're going for, and I knew there would at least create some sort of dialogue between us. I really do like. I really rate this song. I think kind of more hip hop should not all. You need to have fun, kind of lighter songs in the world of music and hip hop, but it's also good to have people trying to actually like express their internal thoughts and make us all think about the world that we live in. It's like, because I think hip hop can really do that in a different way to say like, other genres of music.
Yeah.
So on that, I'll give this bad boy like a solid like 480.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fair enough.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm probably going to go, I got a solid 450. It was really fucking good, man. Makes you think quite a bit.
Yeah.
Didn't really tend to be any filler lines from either of them. But even the choruses are very haunting in the way they're put across and the way they're written as well.
I'm going to go 430.
You always got to go lower, don't you, bitch?
Well, just maybe because my mind is not able to process these lyrics quite with the same speed and depth that it might usually do. Like obviously 430 is a great score. I don't have to really justify why I liked it. Maybe I should give it. Actually, maybe I do need to justify why I liked it.
That's exactly what you should be doing.
It was a good track and it was nice.
Perfect.
Oh God, trying to give like an annotation in my mindset right now. Too hard to do.
Yeah. See, you're also proving this
all right. One
with like your adult addiction to eating pot.
one thing I liked about it is I find that often when rappers are giving their own kind of view of the world and like, hey, this is my mode of living, this is how I believe everybody should be living, it can come across as really quite preachy and judgmental, whereas this kind of lacked that. It was more, these are the consequences if you follow this path, not necessarily saying this is like disgusting to do. It's not like, bragging that I'm so great, I follow this kind of
rhetoric.
Yeah, and like I'm better than as a result. It's more, this is the harsh realities, kind of presenting it more as like fact in a sense than...
Yeah, it's like coming from a place of more concern than judgment.
Yeah.
It's just showing rather than telling, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Also, if you on Dave's second album, We Are All in This Together, the first title track, We Are All Alone, I think he kind of almost continues this, and Ghetts features on that album as well.
Yeah, okay.
Good album. I think Psychonauts,
Psychodrama?
Psychodrama, sorry, Psychonauts is a video game. Psychodrama is still, it's to me like a slightly tighter album, but yeah, I think, Dave is one of the best guys out there working.
Yeah, speaking of lyricism, that album, Psychodrama, is just like
wall
to wall, just like lines that really, they hit you and you're like, that's going to stick with me for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think these guys, especially like Ghetts and Dave, and you could throw Kendrick in there as well, where they're like they will hit with some more reality that I think like hits you more, and you think about in the long run than just like really shallow, kind of fun, dumb lines. Like they're almost like they are really commenting on the world around them more than other, producers, which, you need some stuff. You need guys like Playboi Carti.
Yeah. Hip hop's always very heavily had like a foot in each thing, It's like started off with like, as we were saying the other week in like clubs in like the Bronx and stuff in the boroughs, and them just being like hyping the crowd up and then throwing cool stuff that people can dance to and stuff, more like a disco-esque type to it. Which you could almost say is now like Playboi Carti, what he does, and then
through the evolution, there's like subgenres within.
Yeah, but then there's people on the street as well rapping about shit that was going on and doing it with each other back and forth and stuff, which was like way more conscious.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I'd love to get down to some Kendrick and really think about some shit, and other times I like to go hard in the paint like my boy Walk a Flock of Flame. Just depends on the day.
Yeah, it's true. It really is. Anyway, is that we could call it a wrap?
Yeah, we'll call it a wrap.
Bye.
I love you.